any foreseen circumstance where they wouldn't be taking a course per se, but would still qualify under that instructional time model, where they wouldn't be able to show like a letter grade or show, I'm thinking like an apprenticeship or journey.
Exactly, yes, this could definitely be used in that case. And if there wasn't a grade, then there would have to be another check in place where the student is meeting certain expectations. It would have to be a well-defined internship or whatever the project would be, and the student would be required to meet those expectations in order to have the attendance recorded for them.
And pre-approved by
Yes.
our team before they start that IT journey.
Okay. So when we receive the updated policy, is it gonna be vague enough to allow for that kind of a?
Great question, because that's how I originally wrote it, was very vague, and in the past 2 months, we've met with, I think, all of Arizona. And they said that Arizona, ABE specifically said we needed to take our attendance procedure back to the school board to get it approved. So in this instance, we'll have the attendance for our MCC, and if we need to update it again, we can update it again and bring it back to the board for other possibilities that come.
Okay.
Even potentially just adding, there may be exceptions, you know,
Yeah.
some type of exception statement.
And how that gets approved.
Yeah.
So my understanding is, as long as the school board approves it, it's approved. Once the school board has it approved, then I submit it to ADE, and that's the approval. So if you'd like me to add in that exception piece, then I can add that in.
I think it'd be good just because getting it approved by the board, if a student, you know, decides to go down a path, just that window of, well, maybe you can do this, but we don't quite know. We gotta wait for the board. So.
Okay. I'll write a couple of versions to
Okay.
send to you, and then you can tell me which one
Awesome.
thinks would need the best needs for what you want.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. So that will move us to item number 11, to approve proposed credit addition to existing course.
President Henry, members of the
Oh.
No wonder you're still hanging out.
President Henry, members of the board, this course is approved at the December 2023 KOC board meeting. I'm bringing this back to you for approval to add Algebra 2 as a second area of high school math credit. Algebra 2 teachers at both Kingman High School and Lee Williams High School reviewed the MCC student learning outcomes and competencies for dual credit intermediate algebra, and determined that students who are successful in this course would also have demonstrated the competencies necessary to pass Algebra 2. It should be noted that the next level of dual credit math courses that we already offer, which are college algebra and trigonometry, they already have Algebra 2 added as a second area of math credit. So currently, all of these courses count as fourth year math, and we're just asking to add in Algebra 2 as a second area.
Any questions? Is there a motion then to accept the proposed credit addition?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12, approve books that have been on display for the required 60 days starting March 12th, 2024.
President Henry, members of the board. The iReady Magnetic Reading Foundations and Magnetic Reading Curriculum was brought to the board at the March 12th meeting to be put on public display for 60 days. During that time, there has not been any public comment on the curriculum. Just a refresher for you on the steps that have been taken so far.
Thank you.
This curriculum has been piloted since January 2023 by 52 teachers in grades K through 5, which included teachers from every grade level in each elementary school. The curriculum department has both surveyed and met with pilot teachers to gather data about their experience with the curriculum. At the curriculum committee meeting held on March 4th, we reviewed the curriculum adoption process and KUSD's history with iReady. We also reviewed state statute regarding Move On and reading curriculum criteria and data from the pilot teachers. The curriculum committee voted to bring iReady Magnetic Reading Foundations for grades K2 and Magnetic Reading for grades 3-5 to the school board in order to be put on display for the required 60 days prior to voting on whether to adopt the curriculum for English and language arts instruction in grades K-5. An update on, since this curriculum has been brought to the board, this week we actually have a representative from iReady visiting teachers in grades K1 and 2 who piloted magnetic reading foundations. The goal of her visit is to get feedback from teachers on the pilot. Suggestions from teachers will be taken back to the curriculum writers and editors, which they will consider for upcoming revisions. And then also, should the board decide to, or vote to adopt this curriculum, their feedback will be used to be put into future professional development that would come in the fall for returning teacher, or for teachers when they start with the new curriculum, if it's voted on. Our current ELA curriculum is Journeys, and it is in its final year of production, so we will not be able to continue with it after next year if the board does vote to not adopt IRA. The curriculum department does recommend that the school board vote to approve the magnetic reading curriculum for K-5 reading instruction beginning the school year 24-25.
Any questions?
What was the pilot's feedback regarding it?
The teachers that we have spoken with just this week, majority are very strong in favor of it. The feedback that we got from the surveys that we've done, the teachers for the most part were that the majority of teachers were in favor of the curriculum. And that was all reviewed with the curriculum committee who then decided to bring it to the board.
I got a question. You said Journey is no longer going to be
In production.
Do we know anything about the timeline for iReady, for how long they plan on doing it, or is this like an evolutionary thing? Like Journey was iReady, or is it two separate things?
This is a totally different company, and we're actually, we actually have an iReady representative here who's been visiting with our teachers, but they are moving towards continuing to develop their curriculum. It's not on the way out, it's just getting more enhanced with features that as they're talking to teachers and getting feedback from the field.
So besides here for our pilot schools, where else have you been doing this? Is this just an Arizona State thing, or are you guys?
Thanks, Madam President and members of the board. I appreciate that question. We are actually a nationwide curriculum company, and we value Kingman's opinion. In fact, a lot of what Kingman teachers told us during the pilot did kind of steer us in the direction towards the core ELA adoption that is going forward and being created at the current time. We also received a perfect score on ed reports for our foundations, magnetic reading foundations. We're very proud of it, and the teachers were very excited about it and the program, and have seen great growth with their students.
What was you said that teachers, some of them, I can't remember how you worded it, but what would be the one concern that seemed to be coming back from teachers who used it?
I can speak to that.
Okay.
So we've been hearing that teachers are looking for more writing, help with writing instruction and grammar instruction. And so as Rachel's been meeting with teachers, she's kind of directing them where they can find it in the curriculum, but then they're also aware that those are some needs that teachers are asking for.
And will it tie into the math as far as language?
Well, we are using iReady as our math curriculum. They're within the same platform, but as far as like concept-wise, can they?
She raised her hand.
That is a great question. So yes, we have data that does tie into the reading program from the diagnostic. So it helps guide the teachers to pull small groups to really differentiate for what those students need. And all the resources are included within that program.
So they mesh.
They mesh beautifully.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
yes.
Any other questions? All right, is there a motion then to approve the iReady Learning Foundations and student books?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, you have a motion on the table, is there a second?
I'll second.
Have a second? Any other comments, questions?
I have one question.
All right.
This is because I'm a parent from middle schoolers. Is it required that they have to do so much of the testing? Because they're testing like every quarter, right?
So we are required to do diagnostic assessments, based on, reports that are sent to the state. I'm looking at Sheila because she is who sends all those reports to the state. So they are required to take diagnostic assessments 3 to 4 times a year, and then along with our state assessments, which are, AZ Science, AASA, those will take up, or happen right after we come back from spring break, so.
And then if they're in Cambridge, they're also doing the Cambridge testing. And so is there any way to combine all of that to make it so that they're not doing 6 weeks straight of testing?
If we could.
Good question, Mom.
Well, our struggle when we taught Cambridge, the schools that are required to have that quarterly that we record are generally for like a school improvement, or they're an ATSI school, move on with reading for 3rd grade. There's so many different areas that require benchmark data, and it has to be data that everyone takes. It has to be standardized. So if we take Cambridge, it would have to be a district-wide Cambridge, because they can't compare growth between at first school level.
You feel the same way, just.
Thank you. That explained it.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right,
that's all I
so a
have.
motion and a second on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So now it can be in all of the classrooms. All right, item number 13, possible action to approve an intergovernment agreement between Kingman Unified School District and Vail Unified School District for the Beyond Textbooks program.
President Hendry, members of the board, this is our 11th year with Beyond Textbooks. This is just housekeeping of an IGA. This is our curriculum map along with a pacing guide and a scope and sequence. We have a transient movement in our district, so this keeps everyone on the same page at the same time. So we're asking for approval tonight.
I remember this discussion
Me
from
too.
last year. Woohoo, finally getting there. All right. Are there any questions? All right, is there a motion then to approve item number 13?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I can second that.
All right, we have a second. Any comments, questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I already had the check mark on that one. All right, item number 14, possible action to approve the IGA between Kingman Unified School District and Mojave County for use of the Mojave County Fairgrounds to provide shelter for KMS students and personnel should safety emergencies arise.
President Henry, members of the board, this would be if we had to evacuate and our reunification to get the students back with their families, this would be where it would take place at. So we would evacuate from the building and we would set up stations. We've actually had a drill one this past year, and we plan on having another one next year of a reunification so that we could all be trained in reunifying the students with the parents and what that looks like. We're asking for approval tonight.
Is that all schools then? Like you would be busing some there or just the closest ones or?
This one's for Kingman Middle School.
Okay, did I see that?
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Plus it's a
KMS
county-
students. I'm
county
sorry.
building, we need
I just read that.
You're very thorough.
Is the only entrance like 2 blocks up to get into the fairgrounds? Or are we gonna be putting like right there next to Fireman's Park a way to get into the fairground?
There is a way right there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a gate.
I didn't know.
Yep, there is.
Okay.
Our buses, we've actually, with the incident that happened with Kingman High School, when was that, Dr. Dorner? A year ago? Year and a half ago?
2 years ago, yeah.
So we were able to practice that at that point, and that's where the buses did go in.
Okay.
That's all. Okay. Is there a motion then to approve item number 14?
I'll make it.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second. Any comments, questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 15, possible action to accept all audits and compliance questionnaires pursuant ASR 15-914.
President Henry, members of the board, as you know, because I have reported pretty much on every board meeting since last November, the finance team and myself have been working through the FY22 corrective action plan, revising the FY22 AFR, the FY23 AFR, and completing the FY24 fiscal audit. Staying compliant in FY24, so it's better next year. So this is about the FY23 single audit that was recently submitted. I am going to take a few minutes because we are in public
Yes.
hearing, or we are in a public meeting to go over it in detail.
Yes.
So, a school district governing board or charter school governing body shall publicly accept all audits and compliance questionnaires by roll call vote. And so after I review, and then we have sent you the documents ahead of time, then you can make that vote. So, FY23 audit summary. Number one, there were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies issued or noted for federal awards. That is a congratulations to Michelle Cook and Shelley Eastman and their team on that there were no findings under any of the federal grants. That is excellent. One material weakness was identified for finance and bank reconciliations with the county treasurer. The context for that finding is that cash balances were not correctly reconciled by individual treasurer funds, which could include reconciling items between district funds. The reconciliations provided were not always reviewed and approved by someone other than the preparer. And the auditor general person we met with, or actually our auditors that we met with, said while the bottom line matched, the numbers might not have reconciled between the four columns. So there wasn't missing money, they just weren't reconciling by columns. The criteria is that generally accepting accounting principles, GAAP, and the Uniform System of Financial Records, USFR, mean that we need internal control procedures. The effect by not reconciling is there is non-compliance with the USFR or errors in financial reporting from unidentified cash. Reconciling items that could go uncorrected and lead to a material weakness. The cause, as identified by our audit team, was a management oversight and change in management, which again is no surprise. I've been informing you of this all year. The disappointment is that we hired a consulting firm to check our reconciliations and complete them for us in the absence of a finance director. The professional group consulting firm reconciled FY23 and all of FY24 bank statements, and they were submitted with incorrect data to the auditors. So even our solution did not solve it. So we have hired a former finance director in the interim who is working with our new finance director, Margaret Jones, who has caught us up to date. I think the latest, all the way up to April. And things are balanced and looking good, so we're excited about that. FY22 audit, the material weakness that caused the corrective action plan. In this current audit report, it states the status as fully corrected during the current fiscal year. So that is also very good news. So for the FY23 compliance questionnaire, all of the dozens and dozens of tasks that the auditors spend literally the entire year and several times visiting us, going through, led to the following information. Under budgeting, the expenditure budget was uploaded 8 days after the July 18th deadline last year. So she finished it, got it approved, and then didn't get it uploaded to the state until a week later. Under accounting records, there were a handful of coding errors between the M&O and the capital fund. Those were easily fixed. Pooled interest investments remained in the M&O fund, so she did not apportion it, the director did not apportion it to all appropriate funds. So at the county treasurer's office, where all of the money is pooled together and it sits, whichever accounts contributed to that pooled amount should then have their fair share of principal and interest apportioned back to them, which has been fixed. Cash was not properly reconciled to the county treasurer funds, which I just mentioned. Under cash and revenue, not all school deposits were made in a timely manner, and we've addressed that throughout this year with you and the schools. Under property control, that was the big one in FY 22, that's the general fixed assets, which they said that we have handled. For FY '23, remember, the whole year had finished before we got the FY '22 corrective action, so we expected to see a few things. There's very little on there now. A few of the items were not properly tagged because there were temporary tags placed on the items while we were cleaning the system up, and then we switched those temporary tags to permanent tags. But by then the auditors kind of were already midstream. So that is resolved. Physical inventory was not completed at the time of the audit, but Director Jones has had a team working on that the last couple of months, and it's just about wrapped up at this point, which is great news. Procurement did not have backup documentation for the sale of 10 school buses. That's a mistake we can't go back and fix. It shouldn't have happened. Under expenditures, there was nothing noted. That is excellent news because we
Yes.
spend a lot of money.
Yes, we do.
That is actually tremendous news. Under travel, none noted. Under credit cards and purchasing, none noted. Under procurement, and we knew this, and we can, explain it, but it doesn't take it off the audit list. There was one expenditure that totaled over $100,000. When you reach $100,000, there needs to be a request for bids. And in this particular instance, it wasn't a single purchase. It was two purchases, the aggregate purchase of the same company, which is a purchased service. And in the prior year, there was no tax on the purchased service. It stayed under $100,000. The current year, the FY '23, they added tax, and there has been a debate. Donette has done a lot of research on this, and Michelle, that you aren't supposed to tax purchased services.
Right.
But they did, and it's on here, and so we won't see any of those again. Classroom site fund, nothing noted. Payroll, nothing noted. Again, that payroll, that's a huge accomplishment. Congratulations to the payroll team. Under financial reporting, this is the AFR piece that we knew about. The AFR did not match the budget. Expenditures and revenues did not match the budget under several codes, but Director Jones, it was, what was the amount? It was less than $10,000 for, and not matching of the budget in the AFR.
Oh,
I won't
I know,
quote.
sorry.
It
It
was a minimal amount.
it wasn't very much.
Which is good, because we were looking for millions and we got it down to almost nothing. The food service AFR reported expenditures did not match the district accounting records. It was similar. And then we had annual teacher salaries on the district website, but they were not front and center, and they didn't match exactly the current year. For student attendance, there were some clerical errors for enrollments and withdrawals. Again, with 7,300 students, at a high school, attendance is taken 6 times a day. At a middle school, the same thing. There are thousands and tens of thousands of clerical entries, and there were a few. They actually said in our exit team meeting that we were doing better, even though they were finding the same many districts. One other error that has been corrected is when you are a student in AOI, that is the online program, you have to sign enrollment statement, and it was missing for 5 of the students. That has been corrected. Information technology, one point noted the director of IT had full access to all modules and visions. And the district did not have a formal policy for documenting software changes. Actually, he was in mid-authorship of that, and it concluded by the end of the audit. Records management, nothing noted. General long-term debt, nothing noted. In summary, the district is well on the way to rectifying the property control finding from FY '22 as noted in the material weakness update. We expected FY '23 to be similar to the FY '22 audit because it was managed by the same person. The district continues to need some improvement in attendance reporting and record keeping. While there are a few errors out of all the data, entry states and calculations must always remain a focus. Current finance team should become familiar with the functions and visions and accurately enter and report all expenditures and revenues. That's the process that's underway right now. Budgets, financial reports must be uploaded in a timely manner. No more 8-day delays for uploading the budget. The current team is well aware of clerical and reporting errors and is working hard to train and complete tasks according to USFR requirements. We will continue to update you regularly. The district recommends approving the FY '23 audit report as written. And I can answer, as can Director Jones, any questions you have.
was a lot of work. Who
Yes.
knows?
There's still work to be done,
Right.
but we're getting so close.
Yeah, well, I do want to commend you for walking us through the process and being open and transparent from the very beginning. And I think that's the main reason why we really don't have any questions at this moment, because as corrections were being made, as things were being updated, you were keeping us informed at the moment. So it wasn't just like we had this big problem in the beginning and now we're at the end and here's all this stuff for us to walk through. You have walked us through it, so that is, you're commended, and we appreciate that.
That was our intent.
So then it is then for the board to, so we have to do a roll call. I have not done one of those before, so that you will have to walk us through it again.
You have to say each person's name and they'll say.
So is it a motion then to accept or just a roll call vote?
Motion to accept and then each person will vote.
Okay. Then is there a motion to accept all audits and compliance questionnaires pursuant to ASR 15-914?
I'll make it.
Second. All right, we have a motion on the table and a second. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? Then I, Tony Henry.
You have to put a yea or nay.
Yes. Oh, I think that was my I.
Oh, okay. Lori Grant, yes.
Star Jensen, yes.
Boyd Hardy, yes. Approved.
Says, and that is a unanimous vote, and that motion is approved. So did we do that properly? So we'll know for next time. Okay, thank you. Number 16, item number 16, possible action to approve addition of executive director position, HR, finance, and academic services as part of roles and responsibility restructuring in the Kingman Unified School District office.
President Henry, members of the board, as you know.
We're all gonna cry.
Well, just look at you.
My favorite partner is retiring, and we did post the position for several weeks. It's posted currently, I think, as well. We did not have any viable applicants, and rather than hire someone who might not be value added or beneficial to the district, I'm looking at a restructuring and not replacing the assistant superintendent at this time. In order to share her roles and responsibilities among some of the other staff members, that would, in my opinion, require a restructuring of adding executive directors. It's a minor change, but major in their help along the way. So the finance director, Margaret Jones, for example, would take transportation as a primary supervisor with support from HR and myself. Shelley Eastman would take supervision of the IT department, which was formerly under Jerry, and some of the other duties that Jerry was in charge of and led for so many years in academic services. Shelley Eastman would absorb, as would her team. So this is just a recommendation at this time to have a succession plan for the absence of our assistant superintendent, but we'll keep the conversation and dialogue open, because as I continue to move through my years and will retire eventually, we would need a more in-depth succession plan, so there will be more to come. I'm not announcing my retirement, I am saying that we need a plan.
There's a song in there. All right. So we have the restructuring in our packet, which
Yeah.
also included a pay structure. And that would be included in the motion. So everything that's in this document would be what we would be approving, correct? So make sure we understand that then. Do you guys have any questions?
There is, yes, so for anyone who's wondering, there is kind of just made a visual chart of the superintendent, and then would be an executive director cabinet where I would work closely with each of the 3 executive directors and the other directors as well, but then it outlines who would be supervising which person.
Are there any other questions? All right. Is there a motion then to accept item number 16?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a second? Any other questions, comments, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 17, approve recommendation to renew contract IFB number 24-01-29 for apparel silk-screened and embroidered with the River Rock Promotional Products LLCD. This is the second year of a 5-year award.
Madam President and members of the board, we would like you to approve the renewal of this contract for the district screen printing for River Rock Promotional. They do an as needed, so if the clubs want to do their t-shirts for their clubs and their groups, as well as transportation or any school shirts, then they can go in and do that. We awarded this one last year and would like to renew it with them as well.
Questions?
Any questions?
Did we have any feedback as to how well they did?
I've not had any issues with them. I know we have a contingency in the IFB with them, so if they have a 30-day quote, then if they don't respond with a PO in that 30 days, then they have to go back and ask for a new quote, just so that it keeps up the prices and keeps it up to date with them, just because of the change since COVID, things change a lot. We don't want that quote to, be expired because of things changing in pricing. So that's the only real contingency that we've had some schools say, hey, I've already got a quote. We have to go back and get an updated one because of the 30-day time frame.
Okay, thank you.
Then is there a motion to accept item number 17?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 18, approve recommendation to renew contract IFB 24-02-29 for delivered and off-site fuel, oil, and similar products to Rebel Oil Company, second year of a 5-year reward.
For President and members of the board, this one is for our Rebel Oil to continue with our off-site fueling and also for our buses to be able to go fuel up over at the bus station. They also deliver out to Mount Tipton for the gas tank we have out there so that the bus can fuel up out there. They also provide our off-site transmission fluid and solvent and antifreeze over to the bus barn so that they can do their work over at the bus barn as needed.
I remember this one from last year too.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 19, approve recommendation to renew contract RFP number 21-12-26 for security guards and related services with Desert Mountain Security, the fourth of a 5-year contract.
For President and members of the board, this one is for our Desert Mountain Security. They provide our daily security on our site campuses throughout the day. They also, twice a week, pick up our deposits at the schools and bring it back to district office. And then every Thursday, we have them come to the district office and escort one of our finance team to the bank to do our weekly deposits of our funds. And they also provide our nightly security, do our checks at the campuses that I provide to include on there, excluding our Mount Tipton campus, and do our nightly security checks. Any questions?
How many are armed?
They have just, they're not armed, I don't know, the rate is that they are able to call back and forth, but not armed, especially on campuses.
Madam President, members of the board.
Yes.
They do not have any firearms at all on them.
So basically, they would just call for police backup if needed.
Yeah, if they're on campuses, then yeah, then they do that.
Okay. Any other questions? Thoughts?
Is there any at Mount Tipton?
No. I think so.
During the day,
Because when you call the sheriff's office, it takes a while to get out there, and if there's nobody assigned kind of minding the store out there.
I don't, Tipton's not one that we have covered during the day, I don't get all of them.
There are, Madam President,
Yes.
members of the board.
Mhm.
There are currently 2 schools that do not have a guard. One of them is Desert Willow, and one of them is not Tipton. The other campuses do, but we are looking at meeting with them. We've already met with the principal of Desert Willow, and we need to meet with the principal of Mount Tipton to talk about adding guards on both their sites. So we're smaller campuses, but we're considering just going all the way across one at every.
Awesome. But this doesn't cover that yet.
Yeah, Yeah,
But if they decide they wanna add it on.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
We can change at any time how many guards, where the guards are, whether they, are guarding an event. Maybe there's a large event on a campus and the principal says we would like guards. We can move within the parameters of the agreement.
And they have detained, like when there's been a break-in or something and they actually catch the people, they have detained them until, police arrive. So they have done that for us.
Then is there a motion to accept item number 19?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item number 20, approved recommendation to award RFP number 25-01-30 for the fixed price child nutrition program.
President Henry, members of the board, our current food service management company is on a 5-year contract set to end on June 30th, 2024. We've been in the process to request bids for a new contract to start July 1st, 2025. As mentioned in the board packet, there was a possibility of having to table this item if we didn't receive state approval by today, and we have been refreshing, looking, trying to see if we've received up-to-date. Unfortunately, we have not received word back from the state. We sent them everything last week, all of the required documents, but they have to give final approval before we can award that. So we would like to table this, and as soon as we hear from them, we're hoping by next week we can do a special board meeting. I'm sorry, we've been trying to not have to do that, but.
Okay. All right.
I'll make a motion to table.
All right, we have a motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, item tabled. Okay, that takes us to item number 21, approved recommendation to award IFB number 24-04-24 for Palo Christi asbestos and lead abatement project.
President Henry, members of the board, approval for this one by the governing board for the award of this contract shall allow the district to contract with Spray Systems to complete the asbestos and lead abatement project at Palo Christi Elementary School. This is a fixed price award at $799,332.10, which will be paid for by an ESSER grant earmarked for COVID-related social distancing projects. Spray Systems has been verified to have all current licenses required for the project and was the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. Upon approval by the governing board, we will allow Spray Systems to officially accept the award.
Okay. Any questions?
Can we get an update, like maybe at the next meeting, on where we're at with all of Palo Christi? Because they're all segmented in different pieces and.
And we can give that right now.
Yeah, this is where we are.
Great report.
So once we're able to award this, they will start the asbestos.
This is basically the demolition phase.
Yeah.
So cleaning, abating, and preparing the building for
Yes.
the renovation phase.
Yeah.
It's just estimated to take
13 weeks, and we're hoping that I can either get them over here to start this weekend or at least by Monday. We let them know that this is a very aggressive timeline. So it should take about 13 weeks, and during that time we are also bidding for the next phase, the construction phase. That way they can start immediately once the abatement is done.
Just nice to know what's happening over there, because I know grounds is separate, HVAC is separate, and all those different entities, so I was just curious as to where we were at.
But all of that should be taken in during the construction phase, so.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, is there a motion to approve item number 21?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, a motion, a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Item number 22, approve a recommendation to remove Colleen Mulholland and add Margot Jones as an approved signer for the food program permanent service agreement between Kingman Unified School District and ADE.
Yes, President Henry, members of the board, approval from the governing board board to remove Colleen and add myself as the signer will allow us to update the agreement between KUSD and the Arizona Department of Education to allow continued participation in the National School Lunch Program. Upon approval by the board, we'll submit the changes to the state. And then ADE will initiate an email signature chain with the board members so that you guys can all sign. I'm not sure what that will look like, but once we submit all of the changes, we can notify you to look out for that.
Okay, great. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item number 23, to approve revised budget for fiscal year '24.
President Henry, members of the board, the district has been diligently working with consultants on budget revisions for FY24 to better align our budget with our current strategy of expenditures. A copy of the revisions, you guys should have received that Excel spreadsheet. I'm sure it made perfect sense to you all. It's very easy to read. Upon approval by the governing board, the revisions will be submitted to the state by May 15th. By tomorrow, I'll upload that. Our revised budget confirms what we have been estimating our budget should look like, much like what Dr. Dorner explained during the budget workshop in February. We have an increase in budget capacity in M&O of $7,986,634. A few different things play into this increase. We have worked diligently making corrections on our FY23 annual financial report. Our carryover from last year has been corrected per the changes on the AFR. The energy savings carryover has been moved to its appropriate fund. At the time of the adopted budget for FY23, the transportation information wasn't up to date and has since been corrected. Student counts fluctuate throughout the year and are now more accurate than the original student count estimates. This increase in budget capacity has been reallocated to different expenditures in M&O, such as salaries, benefits, special education programs, etc. Year-to-date with encumbrance, these are our three largest groupings of expenditures. Our salaries, $27,453,534.93. Benefits, $10,877,257.58. And in sped, we've spent $8,660,422.66. As we work on building our budget for FY25, we know based on this revised FY24 budget, we have the ability to cover the 3.7% raises and the increased costs and benefits that we promised. We also have a contingency built into our unrestricted capital budget, which of course is important to allow us for any unpredicted costs that may occur in FY25. And the budgets for the federal and state projects remain the same. You guys have questions on those budget revisions?
Not really. Good.
Good.
All right.
I will make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I can second it.
All right, we have a second. Just making sure there's no questions, comments, or concerns. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you for your diligent, hard work. We do appreciate that, because sometimes we're looking at the reports and you're looking at them knowing that something was not right, but I didn't know the right questions to ask, or I would get a runaround answer when I did ask, and so we do appreciate that we are now on the right path and I can ask questions now. And know I'm gonna get an answer.
Yes, ask questions, and if we don't know, we'll find out.
Yes, thank you. All right, that takes us to item number 24, possible action to approve a memorandum of understanding between Teach Now, doing business as Moreland University, and Kingman Unified School District number 20.
President Henry and members of the board, with this memorandum of understanding with Teach Now, doing business as Moreland University, we have the opportunity to invest in one of our current employees who wishes to become a certified teacher. Similar to agreements we have with other colleges and universities, this agreement sets the parameters for placement of student teachers and will allow us to move forward with offering this individual a teaching contract while he completes his studies at Moreland University. District staff recommend the governing board approve entering into the memorandum of understanding with Teach Now, doing for monetary compensation paid to mentor teachers be removed, and authorize staff to sign the agreement on behalf of the board.
Any questions?
Do we know how many schools they are in? How many districts they have people placed in?
I'm sorry, I don't know that, but I can certainly inquire. But they are based in Washington DC, so actually they have quite a.
Oh, so they're national?
They are.
Thank you.
So this is a new one specifically because this one employee has asked.
Correct,
All right,
yes.
perfect. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Is there a motion then to approve item number 24?
I'll make a motion.
All right, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a second? Any questions? More questions? Comments? Concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item number 25, possible action to approve compensation schedules for the fiscal year 24-25.
President Henry and members of the board, as discussed in the budget workshop and prior board meetings, staff actively engaged in analyzing wage and salary data from comparable school districts and other sources throughout the winter in order to update the placement wages and ranges to be competitive in the marketplace. The culmination of this work is reflected in the placement schedules within your packets for both hourly and salaried staff. Staff recommends the governing board approve the 2024-25 compensation schedules. I'm happy to answer any questions.
You have pretty detailed reports.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Then is there a motion to accept item number 25?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I can second that one.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 26, possible action to ratify at-will employment agreements issued to current classified hourly staff identified within the memo to the governing board who plan to return to the school year 24-25.
President Henry and members of the board, within your packets is a list of current, non-exempt, so hourly paid classified staff members who wish to return for the 2024-25 school year. Staff recommend the governing board ratify the 2024-25 at-will employment notices issued to these staff members.
Okay. Any
I'll make a
questions?
motion to
All right.
approve.
We have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Can second it.
Okay. Any comments, questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 27, possible action to ratify the 24-25 employment contracts issued to certified professional and exempt staff identified in the memo to the governing board who are currently under contract for the 23-24 fiscal year.
President Henry and members of the board, within your packets is a list of current certified professional and exempt staff members who wish to return for the 2024-25 school year. Staff recommend the governing board ratify the 2024-25 employment contracts issued to these staff members.
Is there a motion?
I can make the motion.
All right, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any comments, questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 28, possible motion to move into a public hearing session per ASR 15-977B to discuss and adopt a performance-based compensation system to allocate funding from the classroom site fund.
President Henry and members of the board, per ARS 15-977, it is incumbent upon the governing board to adopt a performance-based compensation system at a public hearing to allocate funding from the classroom site fund. While the entire classroom site fund plan is included within your packets, it is specifically the performance pay component on pages 2 through 4 that is the subject of the public hearing. For the plan to be approved by the governing board, at least 70% of the teachers eligible to participate in the performance-based compensation system must approve the system through an affirmative vote. We had a committee of certified staff representatives who all took votes at their respective campuses. Affirmative votes exceeded the minimum 70% required. It should be noted that the performance pay component of the plan has been relatively consistent in recent years with respect to the criteria. So staff recommends the governing board adopt the performance-based compensation system to allocate funding from the classroom site fund plan as presented in the 2024-25 classroom site fund. And I believe through the public hearing, others, should they so choose, can opt to
Speak.
provide comments.
Okay. So this would be our first public hearing as a board, so we might need direction again.
I believe we vote to go into the public hearing first.
I'll
Okay.
make a motion to approve to go into a public hearing.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. So
Then you
then,
can have a conversation and take comments.
okay, is there anyone who would like to comment then on this item for the public hearing? Oh. I was about to say, thank you, Mr. Arby.
As a representative on the 301 committee, it's the same, we vote on the same plan we voted on for the last, ever, how many years?
Right.
Like 10 years now. And so it's just, the teachers, if we don't make a certain grade level within the schools, then individual teachers have the opportunity to get a performance pay by the things that they do
Mhm.
that are listed out.
Mhm.
So they know going into the school year, I need to take care of my business if I want in the event that this happens. So it's the same thing all the teachers go on all the time.
Correct. So I would take it then most of the teachers over the 70% are in agreement with what's in there. All right, then, so now we vote to adopt the performance-based compensation. All right, so is there a motion then to adopt, is that right? Okay.
Do they amend the public hearing?
Yeah. I'll make a motion to adopt the performance-based.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to adopt the performance-based compensation system. Is there a second?
I can second it.
All right, we have a second. Is there any more comments? Okay, you understand what they're doing, right? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion then does carry. So then we need a motion to come out of the public hearing?
I would make a motion to reconvene into regular session.
All
I
right.
second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I would guess that there would be some things that.
We don't do it often either.
And if we did do it, if Lori and I did do it last year, I don't remember.
I don't remember this at all.
All right, that takes us to item number 29, possible action to adopt a performance-based compensation system to allocate